With pressure mounting then from the teams below them. Brighton need a big performance this afternoon. And of course, after a difficult week, Manchester City must win to keep their hopes of European football alive for next season. This round looks long for Seika. There is a head injury there involving Leila Ouahabi, who had a tough evening, it must be said, against Chelsea. A very physical battle. So she might be in the wars again very early on. You can see from Kiko Seika's challenge there, no obvious intent to harm Ouahabi. Both players with their eyes fully trained on the ball. It just looked as though she did catch a stray arm. And Seika will just make her way over there to check on the Spanish left back. Brighton are today partnering with UNICEF. It's their charity partner for today's game. They're having a takeover, making sure that all funds raised will be going to a good cause. And just a reminder to you as well, watching from home, thank you very much for tuning in, and make sure you do click the link pinned in the comments to ensure that you get all of the latest Barclays WSL news throughout the remainder of this campaign. And of course, please do subscribe if you haven't already, because this is the home of live matches and of course highlights and full match replay too. Obviously the safety of the player is paramount in this sort of situation, but it must be a very strange position for these players to be in, because you get yourself all hyped up for the game and then within the opening 60 seconds or so you're forced to stop. So naturally the Brighton players are pinging the ball around, and it gives Dario Vidicic an opportunity to chat to Maddie Haley and also Frank Kirby as well, two key members of his front line. Maddie Haley, coincidentally, looking to score in back-to-back games following her consolation against Leicester City last time out. The positive sign is that Ouahabi is back to her feet, although she is clutching quite a lot of tissue. I would imagine there is a nosebleed involved too. She's still trying to argue her point that perhaps Kiko Seika did lean in with an elbow. Nothing given by Stacey Phillips, so after 3 or so minutes we are able to restart the game with a Brighton drop ball. Take two. There's Melina Lurk, who was on the bench in the reverse fixture. The German goalkeeper has been given a bit of work here to do, and she gave it straight back to Fowler there, and Mary Fowler probably couldn't believe it came to her so quickly. Brighton guilty of trying to overplay from the back, and Fowler just unable to control that first touch. Vidicic is always urging his players to play out from the back, play football in the right way. It's interesting that Nick Cushing was talking ahead of this game. Both of the two coaches have come through the City Football Group Academy system. Vidicic through Melbourne City, of course. Cushing having spent time through the Manchester City ranks, and then also at New York City too, most recently. Here's Hasegawa, someone who just loves to get on the ball and dictate the tempo. City back up to a full complement then. Azua Harvey rejoins the action. So I was saying before, Melina Lurk invited a bit too much pressure. Manchester City did win 1-0 back in September in the reverse meeting between these two sides. That was Bunny Shaw's first goal of the season. They are, of course, without her for an extended period of time, Manchester City. 6 players they have unavailable at the moment. 7 now if you add in Alexandri. Keating finding Pryor. Very much a new look back line this for Manchester City. A rare heavy touch from Hasegawa. Paris, out of park. Of course, the two of them will be linking up on international duty. By Uahavi. Hasegawa put under pressure by Kirby, and it's Paris who's going to shoot early. Keating was confident with her angles. Good pressing though from Frank Kirby. It's what we have come to expect. Assegawa always wants to pick up the ball from the goalkeeper. Brighton were alert to that. And then the effort in the end from Casparij just dragged wide of the targets. Haley turning under pressure and winning the foul as well. Brighton have started this game well. No team have won fewer games than the Seagulls since December. Crystal Palace and Aston Villa level on their total of just one victory in the WSL. They've come flying out the blocks here, the Seagulls. Miedema. Will use all of the time allocated to her. She produced a fantastic display, didn't she, in the second leg of that Champions League quarter-final against Chelsea. It was impressive enough for her to earn an England recall for the first time in 8 months. Given away by her opposite number, though. And here's Casparij. Reuter on the overlap is forced backwards to Park. For the Austrian again. Park's delivery. Seika took it away from Lily Murphy at the far post quite brilliantly, actually. Not sure if she meant the touch. Coombs wins it back from Casparij, two players who know each other very well. Here's Lazel. Brighton may indeed fancy their chances of getting at this unfamiliar Manchester City back line. And their pressing has almost paid dividends in this first half. Haley trying to flick it on. Miedema was on the run. That will roll through harmlessly for Chiara Keating. Pryor. Casparij in the advance and was offside. Been given a bit more of a licence to get forward on the right-hand side. Kirsten Casparij, someone who has been so effective defensively and important as well in that Manchester City unit. Nobody has made more tackles than her for the Citizens this season. to scamper back again. Brighton very much in the ascendancy. Again, it's Haley with the clever flick in behind, but Fran Kirby had straight offside. Kirsten Casparij was on that occasion. Making a very similar run, getting in each other's way. Haley it is this time, who requires a bit of treatment. So let's then take a look at probably the clearest chance of this game so far, which has been a little bit stop-start. And it was Brighton inviting the pressure on themselves. And Mary Fowler, very unlucky not to be able to control that ball. Melina Lurk breathing a sigh of relief. We did see it last time out, actually, when Brighton played. Leicester were able to pounce on 3 defensive errors. It is the way that Dario Vidicic wants his sides to progress down the pitch. They want to take risks defensively. They want to draw the press and then try to play their way through it. Can, though, have catastrophic consequences if it goes wrong. High risk, high reward. He points out that Dario Vidicic is unbeaten in his 8 Women's Super League home games since taking over on a 3-year deal in the summer. Only Jonas Eidevall, Gareth Taylor and Joe Montemuro have ever gone unbeaten in more home games in the competition. Of course, he is currently tied with Sonia Bonpastor, who's Chelsea winning machine. And back in action later this afternoon. This doesn't look good for Maddie Haley, and it is going to force a change for Brighton. Michelle Agyemang ready to come on the sidelines. It's a real shame, actually, for the American, who had started to look like she was playing some of her best football. So hopefully this is only a minor issue. There's confirmation of that change. Maddie Haley off, Michelle Agyemang on. I was talking this week, actually, about how her dad is a very proud Manchester United fan, so a chance perhaps for her to get one over on the old enemy for him. Casparij spots Bian Reuter. This was a good one. It was Bergsson behind it. Kirby. Paris on the move, Paris in behind, and Keating had a good starting position. And takes no risks with the clearance at all. It is turning into a bit of a chess match between the two managers. Saw there as Manchester City tried to break forward. Brighton left all three of their attacking players forward: Agyemang, Paris and Kirby. All Brighton needed to do was get the ball back downfield as quickly as possible. Ian Reuter closed down by Pattinson. Gives chase and forces the throw in from Bergsvans. Agyemang. There's Kirby with her. He's brought it down really well under pressure. Pattinson back to Agyemang. Up against Asagawa, will settle for the corner kick. More positive, progressive play by the home side. Simons to deliver. Over the head of Keating, and she was, for a second, scrambling. Bergsvan's header just spiralling onto the roof of the net, but another good chance for the Seagulls. So many bodies inside the 6-yard box. Couldn't direct the header downwards. Fowler. Miedema across quickly to snuff out the danger. She's really grown into this midfield role at Brighton since joining from Ajax in the winter transfer window. A lovely take from Kirby. Given away. And look, just settle her defence down ever so slightly. For Simons tidies up herself. At the expense there, giving it straight back to her Harvey. Murphy. It's the 19-year-old spool in. Could be a chance here for Saker. Paris. Won't be close to her as ever, and Pattinson's away here on the left-hand side. A real chance this for Brighton. Straight to Keating. Pryor did well to narrow the angle. Another example, though, of just how dangerous Brighton can be on the counter-attack. It's a wonderful through ball by Fran Kirby. She always wanted it on her left foot, didn't she, Poppy Pattinson? Comfortable in the end for Chiara Keating. Poppy Pattinson, of course, did spend a bit of time with Manchester City. Only ever played in pre-season friendlies for them, but she was a key player in the development team, which won the League and Cup double during the 2017-18 season. Murphy. Zell wins it back from Miedema. Finally, Gracie Bryant has a chance to step out of the back line. Reuter puts one forward. Casparij will get there. Here's Park. Urged to go alone. Fowler creates some space for herself. And is just out-muscled off the ball by Miedema. Away comes Nordam, who only had eyes for that through ball to Fran Kirby. Brighton scamper forward once more. Miedema leaves it for Nordam. Fowler nips in ahead of Bergsmans. And here goes Murphy, and she can really move quickly. Little challenge needed to be made by Away. Paris, slightly too far ahead of Miedema, but she was having her shirt pulled back. And here's the game's first yellow card shown to Gracie Bryant. Cynical foul from the former Manchester City forwards. Should add, Nikita Paris has never scored a WSL goal against the side that she scored 62 times in 127 appearances for. It was under Nick Cushing that she played her best football for City, winning 2 FA Cups, a WSL title, and 2 League Cup trophies as well. She has looked dangerous in this first half hour or so for Brighton. It's a lovely turn from Nordam. Manchester City back in their defensive positions, keeping things a bit tighter when Brighton are in possession, but Saka's found a bit of space behind Ouahabi, who does commit the foul. Brighton have another chance to send their defenders forward and flood that Manchester City penalty area. Simon's last delivery from a corner caused a few issues inside the box. Can she conjure up with that trusty right boot this time around? In from Simons, flicked on again, this time at the near post. It was towards Dottir. Second ball in from Nordam. Towards Dottir stayed forwards. And there's Buxfund, who certainly caught it with plenty of power. Was leaning back as she struck. No real pressure on Nordam, who adds plenty of targets to aim for. The natural position that Bergsvan likes to find herself in as Paris is into the penalty area. Again, Manchester City struggling against this high press that Brighton are putting on in great measure. Casparij was very nearly in behind. Maria Dottir took a bit of a risk. Dwelling on the ball slightly too long. Did enough to get her body between Casparij and the goal. Look, to get there ahead of Fowler, who was closing down on her goal very quickly. Nordam again, with excellent footwork and strength to hold off the challenges. What a game she's having. And there's another searching one behind the back line. Ajimang occupying Grace Pryor. Gracie Pryor is able to win her side the reprieve of a free kick. Pryor finds Reuter. Back by Simons, whose ball in was looking for Ajimang. Again, the right idea by Brighton. The intent applauded inside the penalty area by Frank Kirby. Just like the execution. Asagawa. Delightful turn from her. Finding Fowler. Able to create some space, and the ball is put into the back of the net. And how about that? Kirsten Casparij. Her first ever WSL goal for Manchester City. All started by Asagawa on the sideline. And Mary Fowler, who has not had too many chances to get onto the ball in this afternoon's game, gets her 7th assist of the WSL season and puts it on a plate for Kirsten Casparij. Well, that is exactly what Manchester City will do to you. They have been under the cosh in this first half. Brighton have played really well. They've looked solid in midfield. They've looked a threat on the counter-attack as well. But all it took was a couple of bits of quality at the other end of the field. And Manchester City go a goal ahead. I think a goal was always coming. Neither of these two sides have had a goalless draw in the WSL this season. Based on the balance of the first 37 minutes or so. Could have been forgiven if you had thought that the ball would have been nestling in the goal at the other ends of the pitch. Tosdottir did keep it in play. No doubt, Spotseka fancies a runner to a Harvey and gets around her too. Great pace from the Japan international. And there's Ajimang, whose shot was blocked by Gracie Pryor. Just turned on the afterburners, didn't she, Kiko Seika? Paris couldn't gather. Pryor was in the way when Ajimang did strike. Simons' corner. A couple of stats perhaps the Brighton fans won't want to hear. Manchester City have lost just one of their 13 games this season in which they have led, whereas Brighton, well, they've only come back to win one of their 11 WSL games in which they have trailed. Harvey over the top. Lily Murphy is always brilliant outlets on that left-hand side. She was a former sprint champion in her youth. say in her youth, she's still just 19 years old. She didn't have the option to go professional as a track athlete. Chose football instead and hasn't looked back since. 2 goals and an assist this season for her. That includes her first senior goal, which came in the Champions League. Miedema wins it back from Park. Here comes Simons. Pattinson's ball. Blocked by Vian Reuter. Taken away from Hasegawa. Paris' second touch let her down, but she still managed to find Kirby. Now Seika going for goal and forcing a good stop from Chiara Keating. Plenty of power behind the strike. Kiko Seika is looking to score her first WSL goal since the turn of the year. And she very nearly caught out Keating at her near post. Reacted well, though, the Lionesses' goalkeeper. Right underneath it this time, and Ajimang was there. And that will go down as a big opportunity. A lot more hang time from the ball in. She had to snatch at it, didn't she? Michelle Ajimang. What a pass that is by Fowler. Murphy's first touch just escaped her, but she's such a classy player, Mary Fowler. Only even looked to see where her teammate was before volleying that ball straight to her feet. There are, of course, a couple of stoppages that we're forced into having. It means that there's going to be a lengthy period of injury time at the end of this first half. We're hearing 7 minutes could be added on. So if you were planning on getting yourself some refreshments at half-time, just stay seated for now. Vian Reuter sees Casparij, the goal scorer, looking to turn provider, and Melina Lurk was alert to the danger. An issue there for Guro Bergsvand, so let's take a look at the goal that currently separates the two teams. As ever, it started with good work on the ball by Yui Hasegawa. Mary Fowler, who had been kept relatively quiet in the opening half hour or so, was able to create that yard of space and pick out Casparij in the penalty area for her first goal in this competition. Just their second for Manchester City, following the maiden strike against St Polten in the Champions League. There is confirmation of the 7 additional minutes. It's been end-to-end this game. It wouldn't be a surprise if there was going to be a bit more drama just before the interval here at Broadfield Stadium. Chance for Nick Cushing's players to get some water on board. It is a warm afternoon out there in East Sussex. Appreciation for the Brighton skipper. Took a bit of a sore one there. She is expected to anchor Norway at the Euros under Gemma Granger this summer. Norway, of course, face Switzerland, Finland and Iceland in the group stage. As I mentioned in the build-up to this afternoon's game, Bergsvand is such a crucial player for Brighton. Nobody has played more games than her this season. Fowler looking for Murphy again. Sega happy to communicate with Lurk and leave that one for the German stopper. Pattinson. Here's Park. Fowler. Plays it back. Yui Hasegawa. The strike was beaten away. Bergsvand, I believe, got the final touch. Fowler was given the space to turn and weigh up her options. And Hasegawa, who isn't the most prolific in front of goal, found Bergsvand in the way. Harvey then to swing this one in. It's back on its way by Fowler. Hazel was challenging and Brighton still yet to clear this ball away. Park. Harvey's ball. Miedema back there defending. Have to do a bit more as Harvey can have a run at this one, and it's a great pick out to find Fowler. His volley was straight at Melina Lurk. Just no pressure at all on Harvey. Everything about the chance. Looked very good, didn't it, technically? Just lacking the conviction in the finish from the Australian. Nordam. Surely going to be awarded the free kick. Laura Coombs pulling her back. Lovely turn by Fowler. Here's Coombs. Harvey in supports. Murphy's quick, but not quite that quick. Good hold-up play by Ajimang. It's their time for one final Brighton chance in this first half. Knocks on by Seika. One back by Casparij. Well, it's been a high-intensity first half here at Broadfield Stadium, but it's Kirsten Casparij's goal, her first in the competition, which gives Manchester City a one-goal advantage going into the break against the Brighton and Hove Albion side, who has played some really, really good stuff. Full second half is still to come, and if the first 45 minutes are anything to go by, then you won't want to miss a second. Half-time here is Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Manchester City 1. Off this afternoon for Dario Vidicic, which has been caused by injury. It's Caitlin Hayes coming on in place of Bergsvans. She'll just slot right into a very settled Brighton back line. So as things stand then in the WSL table, this score at the moment, if it does stay the same, will keep Manchester City in hot pursuit of Manchester United in the race for European football next season. Although they do have to make up some ground, and quickly as well. 7 points behind their Manchester neighbours. As for Brighton, that means Manchester City would move 13 points clear of them. 13-point difference between 4th and 5th place in the Women's Super League. Seika. Back by away. Norda. Murphy spots Fowler. Caitlin Hayes is quick across the ground though, and she's done very well against the Australian there. Did look for a moment or so as if Fowler had a yard on her, but the Irish centre-back can certainly move when she needs to. Coombs pounces on the loose ball to find Park, and now Vian Reuter. Step over from her, unable to bundle her way through, but does win her side a corner of Poppy Pattinson. Wahabi to deliver. Drilled in by the Spaniards. Hayes behind it, Fowler too. Kirby. Simon spotted Seika. Was unable to dig out the pass for Kirby. As I mentioned in the first half, Man City do have a good record here. They've won all 5 of their away Women's Super League fixtures against Brighton. And they've done that by winning by an aggregate score of 25 goals to 3. In fact, that rate of 5 goals per away game against the Seagulls is the best of any club to travel to another in the competition for 5 or more times. And what you can say for Brighton is that they are certainly putting up a much better fight, a much more balanced fight than they have done in their previous 4 games against them. Here's Frank Kirby. Just ran slightly too in front of her. Again, though, they are so quick on these turnovers, Brighton. An inch perfect through ball. Eye of the needle stuff from Nikita Paris. Well, he just couldn't get a shot away quickly enough. Reuter. Good combination with Casparij, who's right underneath that cross. On Merseyside in this afternoon's other fixture, Liverpool have taken the lead against Aston Villa. That does mean that, as things stand, they move ahead of Brighton, although I have just been informed that has been, I was going to say it's been ruled out, but it has actually been given. So, Brighton down to 6th as we look at it. Back by Reuter. Only momentarily as Brighton just settle themselves defensively. Thomas Dottir to clear the lines. It's a lovely touch in field by Nikita Paris. Here comes Seika. City had enough players back for now. Aubameyang was in an offside position. Seika. 1-0 has proven to be a tricky scoreline for Manchester City in the last 2 WSL match days. They failed to win on each occasion, despite taking a 1-0 lead in both of them, drawing one, losing the other. Coombs picks up a yellow card. Too eager to win that one back. Simon Spool. Seika helps it back towards goal. She's going to get a second bite at the cherry. And it was dipping, and thankfully for Keating, it dipped the other side of the crossbar. City looked to have enough players back between them and the goal, but when it bobbled up for Seika, Keating did appear to have her angles covered. Asagawa floats one over the top for Mary Fowler quite beautifully. Read by Uwahabi. And off goes Murphy. Able to test away. Drive in field too, Murphy. Credit to away for staying with her. Looks as though we may be seeing the introduction of Carolyn from the bench anytime soon. City looking for a spark of inspiration in their forward line as Brighton look like they might be coming back into this game. Hajibank, one for Paris to chase. Keating will get there first. Paris, Kirby, Seika continued her run. Kirby couldn't bring it under her spell. She'll get another chance here though. Away on the overlap. Pullback was good, but Moselle was in the way. Where's that change then? It's going to be Lily Murphy making way. And Carolyn, who had the most shots, more touches in the opposition box and created the second most chances, as well as scoring against Chelsea, meant that she became the first player in WSL history to record those numbers in a game against the reigning champions. Certainly hasn't taken her long to adapt to life in England. Again, Brighton press high. Moselle with no option but to kick it straight towards Seika. Oh, lashing clear. Coombs. Casparij up against Simons, who will slide in and get there first. Fowler. Paris spotted the gap for Kirby to try to exploit. Gracie Bryant very diligent in her tracking across the pitch. On the clock here, and Manchester City are still being made to work by Brighton, who are very much in this game. Casparij, the goal scorer. Fancies her chances up against Tosdottir. The Norwegian comes out on top. The ball will stay in play. Casparij, plenty of space now for her to weigh up her options. Hayes gets it up, not quite away, and on the volley, it was met by Uahabi, who couldn't keep her strike down. It's another good chance. This time for the Spaniards. Frank Kirby doing just enough, perhaps, to put her off her stride. Tosdottir emerges with possession. Brighton have runners coming forward again. And that was the wrong choice. Nicely done by Kirby. Saker floats one in. Paris was there. Pattinson was arriving too. Not for the first time this afternoon, it looked as though two Brighton players got in each other's way. What a delightful pass in that was. So inviting from Saker. Some lapse in communication at the far post. Double change then for Manchester City first. In fact, we'll do Brighton first. Paulina Bremer coming onto the pitch to replace Poppy Pattinson. One former City player on for another. A much more forward-thinking substitution, that one. And Nadine Nordam will also make way. She's been brilliant this afternoon in midfield. And it's a welcome back to action for Jelena Jankovic, who has been sidelined for the past 3 WSL games. And then for City, Mary Fowler, creator of Casparij's goal, is leaving the fields. Jill Ward on in her place, and Viviana Miedema is also going to be joining the action. In place of Jess Park. Not really the type of player that you want to see coming on if you're a Brighton player. Someone with fresh legs who knows exactly where the goal is. So fresh legs then in the engine room for both sides. And a bit of added attacking impetus too. Coombs turns into trouble. Ball played just ahead of Miedema by Frank Kirby. Manchester City get away with another one there, trying to play out from the back. Bremer, closed down by Carolyn. Should say it was Paulina Bremer who grabbed the assist, the only time that Brighton have ever beaten Manchester City in the Women's Super League. Just over 20 minutes to try to turn this game on its head. Kirby. Bremer continued her run into the penalty area. It's a lovely pullback too. And Nikita Paris knows that she could have done better with that one. And a bit more added energy from the substitute, Paulina Bremer, against her former team. It was a difficult chance to take, admittedly. The reaction from Nikita Paris says it all. Bremer. Away's delivery. A routine catch for Keating, who does require a bit of medical attention. So just a reminder, make sure that you do click the link that is pinned in the comments to ensure that you're getting all of the latest Women's Super League news as and when it happens. And of course, please do subscribe to the channel as well on YouTube. Make sure that you never miss a live match again. We also have highlights on here, compilations and full match replay too. This is your home of all things Women's Super League. While the players get some much needed water on board, let's take a look at the goal that is still deciding this game. In the first half it was Fowler twisting, turning and then finding the cross, and Casparij took a very quick glance over to the official on this side of the pitch to check that she hadn't strayed into an offside position. Manchester City took the lead. That's the way that it has stayed since. City, of course, have had the luxury of bringing on some incredibly senior internationals in terms of experience as well to see out this game. Viviana Miedema, Jill Roord, Carolyn, to name a few. City have, of course, rung the changes themselves. They have been picking up a bit of momentum, the home team. So, Clara Keating's issue perhaps happening at a good time for Manchester City, shall we say. Good news is that she is okay to continue. Won't hamper her opportunity with Serena Wiegman's Lionesses in April. Here's Miedema. Over to Kirby. Another runner on this side is Bremer. Lazel in the way. No nonsense clearance from Harvey. The ball will come straight back towards City. Lovely back heel by Cankovic. Bremer able to keep it in, only to be hacked away again. Hasegawa trying to calm things down for City. And space now for Caroline, who's behind away. Still delays and then trying to go alone. And a better option may have even been on the other side of the penalty area. City had an extra player there. And Brighton make the most of the counter-attack. Bremer. There's one in for Kirby. Hajimang. With the 19-year-old, 1-on-1 up against Gracie Pryor. He's looking to roll one for Jankovic, well read by Hasegawa. Over the top by away, and Keating again comfortably placed to take that one down. Bremer. It's been all action since coming onto the pitch. He's able to drive inside too before taking the shot on. Can it fall for Hajimang? What a block that is. Gracie Pryor again. Danger not yet cleared, and Kirby's ball goes all the way out and behind, but not for the first time this afternoon. Gracie Pryor throwing herself in front of a Michelle Hajimang chance. It was created on this right-hand side by Bremer. The ball bounced fortuitously, but what an excellent bit of defending that is by the 20-year-olds. Caroline will keep it in. Jankovic taking touch tight, just a bit too literally there. So Manchester City have a chance to slow things down again. Maybe cause a few issues from this set piece. They've not had too many in this game. Harvey's cross. Hajimang was back defending. It came on the volley for Caroline. And Lurker gathers at the second time of asking. Reuter for Miedema. Ross. Brighton playing themselves into trouble there. Saw a bit of that in the first half. We haven't seen too many since the interval. Perhaps a sign of nerves and frustration kicking in as we enter the final 15 here. Hasegawa. Long over the top. Miedema. Wahabi. Coombs. Wahabi's ball was met by Miedema. Comfortably stopped for Melina Lurk. Good build-up play on the left-hand side, though, by Manchester City. Miedema managed to create herself a bit of space. Kirby. Brighton will get the corner. Picked up by Bremer. Simons. It caused Casparij a couple of problems. The referee was in the way, and Stacey Fullocks will call for a drop ball. Jankovic. This one over the top. Minutes it for Brighton. Bremer's shot was charged down. Hasegawa will just clip that one clear as far as she can. Manchester City defending very deep to try to preserve their one-goal lead. Jankovic. Pounced on by Wien Reuter. He's kept her run going. Seika just moving up through the gears to beat her to the ball. Done a lot of hard running in this game, Kiko Seika. Mainly helping out defensively. Very selflessly. Kirby trying to stretch play. She has stretched play, and look at Paulina Bremer. His first touch let her down somewhat, but she's still got acres of space. Brilliant challenge by Simons. Will it drop now for Seika? City smother clear into the final 10 minutes. And Bremer gets the better of Wahabi again. Oh, what an impact she has made since coming on, the German. Almost playing as if she has a point to prove at Broadfield Stadium. Another change then for Brighton. Sees Marit Awe leave the pitch. And Charlize Rule coming on. Her first WSL appearance of the season. Still just 22 years old. She committed her long-term future to Brighton last summer. Here she is now. Inviting cross two for Seika. Not too far wide. It was one to attack. And she was arriving at speed too. Knew exactly where she wanted to put it. Charlie's rule. Seika always had the run on Vian Reuter. That sort of thing will only galvanise your teammates when you come on and deliver that bit of quality. Speaking of which, is Maisie Simons. Needed some support. With Brighton trying everything they possibly can, throwing as much at this as they possibly can, as it's Kirby with a dipping effort. Straight at Keating again. Set up nicely, being flicked on. Well, first Ajimang and then Paris. Just couldn't get the connection she wanted. It's very easy to forget that Manchester City are playing a bit of momentum themselves. Lays out. Communicates well with Keating there. Carolyn, that is lovely work to get away from Rule. Jankovic desperately trying to get back. Carolyn's going to find Miedema. He was challenged in the nick of time by Simons. International break, of course, on the horizon, but after that, Manchester City are in Adobe Women's FA Cup semi-final action. And it's a Manchester derby at home on April the 13th. Brighton will be given an additional weekend of recovery before they host Liverpool the following weekend. And then off to Merseyside to take on Liverpool City rivals Everton. The following weekend they host Arsenal to kick off May, and their final game of the season is away to Aston Villa. For Manchester City, well, the run-in means that they host Everton at home in the WSL. They travel to Leicester before another Manchester derby, this one an away one to kick off May. Crystal Palace is their final game of the season at home. Kirby. Seika. Away by Lezel. Brighton ramping up the pressure as we're into the final five. Kirby. Sigawa. He's just everywhere in that midfield. She's picked a brilliant out ball as well. Carolyn. Miedema with her. Raw 2. They will set up for Jill Rords. Plucked from the sky by Melina Lurk. End to end now this game. Almost turning into basketball. One attack followed by a counter attack, and here come Brighton on the latest one. Seika shown outside, looking for the pullback. Frank Kirby won't get there ahead of Coombs. And now it's Manchester City's turn. Casparij and Miedema in support of Carolyn, who's just trying to slow things down and lure in Charlie's Rule before going herself. You could see what she was trying, looking for the far corner. Just couldn't get the curl. She's so quick from a standing start, Caroline. Was always fighting to try to get back goal side. Miedema. It's so open, this game. Is there time for a sting in the tail? Kirby wasn't able to keep it in play. The silver lining for Brighton is that Liverpool are currently into the 3rd minute of stoppage time. They're losing by 2-1 to Aston Villa. Paris charged down by Pryor. Raymer. Cankovic. Back with Raymer. Manchester City with so many players inside their own 6-yard box, blocking the route through to goal. It's going to require something a bit special from the home side as Bremer tries to conjure up another dangerous delivery. And Keating will just eat up the seconds here. Casparij seizes the ball. This is where Manchester City won the ball. Well, they want the final few moments to play out here. Caroline, she's so sharp. Miedema again in support. Caroline gets around Hayes. Can dig out the cross too, and it's Miedema to finish things off and make sure at the 3 points for Manchester City. A thumping finish from their number 6, but all the work done on the left-hand side by Caroline. And that one is a sickener for Brighton, who have done well to not only stay in this game, but very nearly equalise as well. Only for City to just go down the other end and lash in a second goal. And consign them to defeats. I have to say, they've executed their game plan to perfection, City. They've taken their chances when they've needed to. Viviana Miedema's 8th goal in 12 appearances in this competition against Brighton. He's going to be the strike that settles this contest. Miedema. Bremer. Seika. Around Vian Reuter, who did get the last-ditch slide challenge in. We have to say, Brighton, if they don't manage to score this afternoon, they are going to feel very hard done by. They've played some really good stuff. They've been unfortunate with the chances that they've had. Maybe they could have been that bit more clinical themselves, but they've given a great account of themselves. Can they do anything from this corner? In from Cankovic. Paris. Ajibang for Simons, and hook goalwards. There is the goal. And on her first Women's Super League appearance of the season, Charlize Rule has her first Women's Super League goal of the season. Well, is there time? Just over 2 minutes of injury time on the clock. And Charlize Rule finished that one like an accomplished striker. How they could have done with that goal a couple of moments ago. But they've got it now. And there's the opportunity to ramp up the pressure. Although perhaps there was a bit of a rush of blood to the head there for Charlize Rule, who's essentially kicked that one into touch. You can hear the cry from Dario Vidicic on the touchline. Box them in, make them work for it. It is just a one-goal cushion now that Manchester City have. 70 seconds remaining for Brighton to try to salvage something from this game. Cankovic. A great ball into the box, and here's Frank Kirby. Back for Paris. Seika will keep things alive. Oh, what an end to this game we are having. A lovely bit of interplay between Paris and Kirby. Paris couldn't get on the end of that one. You could tell she was always going to go for goal there, Seika. Even though Paris did want the return ball. Will that go down as Brighton's final chance of this game? There's another injury involving Uwahabi. And yellow cards for a Brighton player for her involvement. And this game finishes almost how it started. Uwahabi requiring treatment for a head injury. It's a very firm challenge, wasn't it, from Caitlin Hayes? I don't think she can have too many complaints about the yellow cards. But the 2,480 fans in attendance this afternoon have been treated to a bit of a Women's Super League classic this season. Two teams intent on playing football in a very specific way, a way that is very much encouraged within the City Football Academy. Of course, both coaches graduating through that system, Nick Cushing and Dario Vidicic. Looks like Viviana Miedema's goal is going to be the winner. Seven WSL strikes for her now in 11 games this season. She's come off the bench and she has made the difference.
Come on. Play the game. Come on.
Harvey still plenty of discomfort there. And for Nick Cushing, of course, focus will now be on that FA Cup semi-final after the international break. He said before the game, the silver lining of being knocked out of the Champions League, if there is a silver lining, is that they have clarity of what we need to do in the rest of the season. And that is, there is one trophy Manchester City are now capable of winning mathematically. And that is the FA Cup. Manchester United are in their way of reaching a Wembley final. The game will be played at home on April the 13th, following the international break. Uahabi back on her feet for the second time this afternoon. We're well into injury time here. Possibly one final minute to be played. And it will be played in Manchester City's half. Ajimang, hopeful, looking for Seika. The option was to go left. And Kirby was demanding the ball. And you feel as though that may well be it now for Brighton. Asagawa. Brighton need it down the other end. They need it down the other end fast. Lizel in the way this time. Carolyn. Just aim for the corners. Beat up these final seconds of what has been an incredible game of football. Coombs. For Miedema. Only one thing on her mind. There will be a Brighton throw-in. And a yellow card as well for Viviana Miedema for delaying the restarts. Look. Still no sign of the full-time whistle. Paris. Ajimang's flick on was deflected, and that is going to be full-time here. And what a game of football it was. Manchester City just about managed to hold on despite a late wave of Brighton pressure. They were good to the home side. They were battling in unison. They had moments of real quality as well, but Manchester City were clinical, and they showed it too. Kirsten Casparij it was who got the first, and Viviana Miedema came off the bench to get a late second for them. Felt as though the game had been wrapped up, only for Charlize Rule to grab her first WSL goal of the season, on her first WSL appearance of the season, and set up a nervy finish, but Manchester City held firm. Full time here is Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Manchester City 2.